What's going on YouTube, Ferocity? I hope you guys are doing well. One of my main criticisms of the Call of Duty developers is that they rarely ever communicate with the community. But it seems whenever they do communicate with this community, it's just lies, or they're trying to work around the truth in some way, shape, or form. I mean, they released that awful matchmaking update where they basically told us that there are way too many parameters to put you into a match, and they don't really even understand how it works. They let the computers and the code figure it out. The developers themselves don't really have a true handle on it. Which gets me to today's frustration, because Warzone Mobile released. And one of the things you'll notice right away if you hop into Warzone Mobile is that it supports 120 players, whereas PC and console only supports 100 players. And that has gotten the community in a little bit of a situation. People are frustrated. Why is it that Warzone on mobile can support more players when it's very clear the more powerful machines, the consoles, the PCs, are limited to 100? It's okay though. We have IGN on the case to ask the hard-hitting questions. So here it is. Warzone Mobile supports 120 players, but Warzone on PC and console is currently limited to 100 players. How do you reconcile that mobile, which you ostensibly think of as the less powerful platform, is able to have more players than the console and PC version? Chris Plummer: I think it's important to point out that this isn't the technical limitation in any direction. These are design choices, so the Call of Duty technology supports lots of players. We can support more players or less players in Warzone Mobile, and the same is true on other platforms. The reason you see certain player configurations is purely through design decisions that are made based on checking out how players are playing, where the pockets of action are, where certain things happen in the journey of playing the map, and where it gets exciting or boring or whatever, and player count really impacts that. That's a whole nothing burger of an answer. There's really nothing there. He's basically saying, oh, we check where games are exciting and where they're not. It's not because we have technical limitations. So then why don't you try out higher player counts? It's one of the biggest things that the Warzone community has asked for. Why don't you try higher player counts? Try 150. Try 130. If there are no limitations, then listen to your community. They want to see the same amount of players as Warzone Mobile. So why is it that it works on mobile but doesn't work on console? Answer that. It's not because of exciting or boring gameplay. It's because there's something that you guys cannot fundamentally figure out. And this is the problem with Call of Duty. They can never be forthright with their answers. It always has to come about in this roundabout fashion so that they don't look like they're as incompetent as they truly are. Because that's Call of Duty's MO these days. Incompetency above all else. Because they used to be able to support, 150 players on the original Warzone? Now they can only support 100? Why is that? Could it be because they've gotten lazy? Could it be because they've fired half of their staff? Or could it just be the fact that it's the best thing for the game? I made a video earlier this week talking about player counts dwindling. Do you think it's best for the game when you struggle to get over 1 million players across your entire catalog of games that you release right now? Do you think that's a problem? Do you think more people would come to Warzone if they heard 150 player max in Warzone? Maybe you get some people back, even 120, 124, whatever it might be. Increasing the player counts isn't going to ruin the Call of Duty experience. It's going to make it better. But because you guys have so many SBMM parameters thrown in to your Warzone matchmaking, it makes matchmaking 150 players a lot more difficult than 100 players. And that's the problem. That's what it comes down to, is there are limitations on their matchmaking end that they don't want to talk about because they love to leave it as ambiguous as possible so that you are the player and you're left in the dark. They'd hate to have transparency. They'd hate to have honesty. They hate to be truthful to this community. And that was one of the things I talked about early on in Modern Warfare 3's life cycle, is they needed to build trust with this community. And statements like these continue to make the community lose trust in you, lose belief in you. You cannot answer the question, so you go about it in a roundabout way to try to satisfy Who? This doesn't satisfy me as a player. Tell me what is the reason. And don't use this BS excuse of, we want to get it right. When the game gets too exciting or too boring, that's what really impacts player count. That's not true. Do you think the game is more exciting with more players or less players? That's my question to you. Because I'll tell you this, the game can be in both pockets and work simultaneously. That's why you have things like 10v10 Mosh Pit in multiplayer and 6v6. That's why in older games you had things like Ground War, which was 12v12, 6v6, tactical matchmaking, which was 4v4. You had all these varieties of ways to play the game. What if you brought that back? More variety, more opportunity to explore different avenues within Warzone. Maybe you had a playlist that was only 100 players. Maybe you had a playlist that was 150 players. Why not? What is the reason why you wouldn't go down that route if it's something the community wants? Oh, it's because I know you don't want to segment the current community because you know that there's not enough players out there to give them too many options. You've got to narrow down the options to ensure that your playlists are populated. Maybe that's on you. Maybe the reason why we're in this mess is because you guys are not good enough at your jobs. Maybe the reason why you can't have 150 players is because of all these other things that you think are more important than actual game design. Skill-based matchmaking, battle pass, cosmetics. They're add-ons. They're extras. Focus on making a good game and then maybe add these things later on. Maybe. Probably not skill-based matchmaking. But everything else, think about it once you've been able to build a competent game that your player base likes. And yes, people will say Warzone this year is better than Warzone last year. Probably. But it's still nowhere near as good as what Warzone was when it first originally came out in March of 2020? Maybe some of that love is revisionism because of what happened during that time. But regardless of that, regardless of what might have happened, the consensus is there. Warzone, when it first released, supported, I believe it was 150 players, and now it's down to 100. But don't worry, the mobile version can still support 120 players. Make it make sense. Make it make sense for me. I'm your player base. I'm part of your community. Why is it that you have shrunken the amount of players that can play Warzone? Don't tell me this BS answer that you gave IGN. Tell me the truth. Be honest with us for once in your life. You want to bring players back to the game? You want people to be able to trust you? It starts with honesty. Honesty solves a lot of problems. Transparency solves a lot of problems. And unfortunately, Call of Duty hates both of those things with every fiber of their being. They'd rather leave you in the dark. They'd rather pretend that nothing's wrong and everything's all hunky-dory, when in reality, it's a complete and utter tire fire over there. But that's it for the video today. I'm very curious. With Warzone Mobile dropping, is it something that you're going to pick up and try out? Is it something you're excited for? Let me know with a comment down below. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.